How do you find the best Medicare plan for you? Think about that for a moment. Hi, this is Bob Vineyard, your Medicare expert with the Georgia Medicare Minute. Most of the videos you'll see like this tell you, or at least they pretend to tell you, how do you find the best rate? Well, that's not always the best approach. When they're talking about rates, they're generally talking about Medicare supplement plans, also known as Medigap, Medicare supplement, interchangeable terms, just like Kleenex and tissue. And there's certainly nothing wrong with going that route, original Medicare and a supplement plan. As a matter of fact, all my clients, that's what they have. They have original Medicare and a supplement plan, and that's the plan that they chose, not something that I tried to force on them. But when you're starting down this Medicare journey, or even if you're reconsidering a decision that you made probably when you turned 65, then you need to ask yourself, do I have the right plan? Is this really what I think it is? And more often than not, the answer is you probably don't know what you have, and you don't understand. And that's not a cavalier remark. You don't do this every day. And so, whatever you've been doing in your life prior to retiring and going on Medicare, it probably wasn't insurance. So this is all brand new to most people. But as far as getting to the right place, where you need to be, finding a Medicare plan that is right for you, I'm reminded of a line by Yogi Berra. He said, if you don't know where you're going, you might end up somewhere else. And nothing is more true than going down that Medicare maze and trying to figure out, where am I going and how do I get there? Now, I will tell you that a lot of carriers and agents, and even Medicare gets into the act, they're all pushing the Medicare Advantage plans, and they sound so wonderful. Over half the plans in Georgia do not have a premium, so what could be better than not paying a premium? And most of them will throw in some dental benefits and some vision benefits that you'll later find out is probably not worth the price that you pay. But that's another story. But let's dig into the Medicare Advantage plans for a moment, because I get a lot of calls through the year from people who say, I can't afford my Medicare plan. And more often than not, they're talking about a Medicare Advantage plan. Well, if they're telling me that, then that indicates they're probably in bad shape. They have a medical issue and they're paying out hundreds or maybe even thousands of dollars each month, and they just can't afford it. The sad news is you probably can't change to original Medicare and a supplement plan once your health goes south. So you need to make the right decision up front, or at least the best decision that you can. And there's some things about Medicare Advantage plans that people don't tell you. Now, I'm not going to speculate as to why they don't tell you. But it could be any number of reasons, including they don't understand it, they don't know about what I'm going to talk about, they don't know how to explain it to you, or maybe they just figured, well, if I tell them this, they won't buy. So it's Medicare pre-authorization. Now, I have an entire video on Medicare Advantage pre-authorization. And you might want to look at that. I'll probably link to it in the description, but I have a whole video on that. And Medicare pre-authorization is something that only comes up with Advantage plans. Now, you may or may not know Advantage plans are managed care, which means they have networks. You pick from a list of doctors and hospitals, and those are the ones that you want to stay with. About half the plans in Georgia are HMO, actually more than half the plans in Georgia are HMO, the rest are PPO. And I have a video on that as well, explaining the difference between HMO and PPO. So I won't get into it here. But let's talk about pre-authorization, because again, this is something most people don't know about. And by the time they find out about it, it may be too late for them to change. So, what is Medicare Advantage pre-authorization? Basically, about 80% of the plans out there, now this is not my number, this comes from the Kaiser Foundation, about 80% of the plans out there require pre-authorization. And basically, this is kind of like when you were a teenager and, Dad, can I borrow the car, please? You have to get permission to get the car keys and take the car out, and you got to promise to fill it up before, fill up the tank before you bring it back home. There is a process with most Medicare Advantage plans. Before you can go to a specialist, you need a referral from your PCP, that's primary care physician. And your Medicare Advantage carrier may want to sign off on that referral or not. Your doctor should know that, should know and get it cleared with your carrier. Also, some exams, even some kind of treatment, may need to be prior approved by your Advantage plan. And you may find yourself basically caught in between you and your doctor or doctors, the two of you, the doctor, the provider, and yourself. You're fighting with the insurance company over, well, my doctor says I need this test, or I need this exam, or I need this treatment, and you're telling me you're not going to pay for it. And their answer is, yeah. And the reason is, it's our money, it's not yours. So we're going to decide the best course of treatment, which usually translates into the cheapest form of treatment or test. So just be aware that prior authorization will rear its head at any time when you have a Medicare Advantage plan. Generally, it's on the more expensive procedures or test. So, they'll tell you, we're just trying to save you money. Well, actually what they're trying to do is save themselves money, not you. So they're not necessarily your friend. But I just thought I would point this out, that when you're looking for Medicare coverage, whether you're new to 65 or it's open enrollment, or you have just left an employer plan, and you're going off of the group coverage and venturing into the Medicare world, you just need to be aware of what your options are. There are plenty of videos out there from agents saying, which is better, F or G, F or G. That's not helpful. And you'll get calls from people, you'll get stuff in the mail that says, well, we have the best rates. That means nothing. It means absolutely nothing, because all it means is today's rate, at least the ones that I'm showing you, these are pretty doggone good rates. Of course, that may be from a carrier that just got into the business 6 weeks ago. And this is June of 2019, and we do have one carrier in particular, a big well-known carrier that just entered the state of Georgia about 6 weeks ago. So that's not a big confidence builder, even though you may recognize the name. I'm not going to mention them. They have been here before with subsidiary carriers, but as things happen, they have retired those carriers one by one, and every time they retired them, the rates went up and up and up for the people who kept those plans. And the people who bought from the newer carrier, well, they got a pretty sweet deal, at least for a couple of years or so. So many things to think about. And basically, I do take a different approach. I don't just talk rates. I mean, certainly I will share with you all kinds of information. I'll send out a report On the G plan, for example, which is currently the most popular plan, I'll send out a report that has about 50 different rates on there, more than you'll see from anybody else. And I'll answer any questions that you may have about the different carriers and the rates and the rating basis and all that kind of stuff. I'll also tell you that if you're interested in rate history, that doesn't matter. I have a video on that as well. So you can see I've got a whole bunch of videos on here that you need to check out from time to time. But again, I take a different approach from what most other people do. I've been in the health insurance business for over 40 years. I'm on Medicare myself. I have worked exclusively with the Medicare market since 2010. So I think I have a little more background and a little more insight into the way this Medicare game works than most of the people that you'll talk to. All I ask is that, give me 10 minutes by phone. Ask me any question you want. See if the answers I give you, see if they resonate with you. See if you feel like I'm shooting straight and I'm the kind of person you could work with. If you are favorably impressed, then great. Let's move forward with it, but only at your pace. If you just feel like no, this guy is just he's just somebody just interested in taking my money and then moving on to somebody else, well, I'm sorry that you have that impression. But if you have negative feelings about me, that's fine. Move on, and I will too. We'll just part as friends. But I do ask people, give me 10 minutes to answer your questions, not so I can give you a sales pitch, because I don't give sales pitches, but give me 10 minutes to answer your questions. We'll visit by phone. If you like what you see, okay. If you don't, so what? I call it my offer you can't refuse. You take care. Have a great day. This is Bob Vineyard with the Georgia Medicare Minute.